Welcome to the Maura Sweeney Podcast. Maura is an international speaker and the trademark ambassador of happiness with a passion for personal responsibility. She weaves insightful questions with personal stories to challenge your mindsets and empower your best and happiest self from the inside out. Here's Maura with today's podcast for you.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's Living Happy Inside Out podcast, where it all is about you going within and making changes so that the world outside of you will be a little bit brighter and a little bit happier too. Today, we're going to take up something different. I'm going to give you 10 hacks, quick and easy, to help brighten you from within, to help you feel better, feel happier, feel more energized, feel more hopeful. And obviously, from making those changes from within, you can find your world and your life becomes a little bit better. Number one, victim or beneficiary. You always get to choose. Here's the thing with victims and beneficiaries. Whenever you're in a situation, what is the first thing that you feel like when it's a problem? Oh, you feel like a victim. Oh my gosh, here I am again. I'm up against a wall. I'm so tired of dealing with this same thing. Or maybe it's something new that surprised you. If you can just stop for a moment, try to drop everything else and say to yourself, am I choosing to see myself as a victim or a beneficiary right now? And if you can choose the word beneficiary, literally choose to be a beneficiary in that moment, you will automatically start changing your energy and literally open up pathways for new and better and oftentimes unexpected outcomes for the situation you are facing. I have had to do that many, many times, but the biggest thing is it uplifts the way you feel from within and therefore creates new passageways for better outcomes. Number two, have a book, a journal, or a little index card of good remembrances that are your go-to places whenever you feel like you're on a low, or like you're frustrated, or you're uninspired, or maybe worse. Go to them. What do you have in your journal? Have you been keeping a little listing of maybe challenges you went through in life and then great outcomes and things you learned, especially things that seemed like they were really going south and you looked at them in hindsight and you realized, wow, these things really did turn out well for me and for other things in my life that I couldn't see in that moment. Or maybe you're somebody who loves little quotes or scriptures or something else that's really inspiring and you like putting them on an index card, or maybe you like just keeping them in your phone. Keep them handy, because when you could go to these go-to places, what you're actually doing is changing the energy within you. And I want to give you a little mini hack inside of this number two, and that is this. I learned somewhere, and I've experienced it in my own life, that when you physically, with your own writing, write something down and you go back to it, the very energy that was contained in your writing brings you right back emotionally to that moment. So if you've written something that had a good outcome, something that made you feel better, you can actually go to something you wrote back on a piece of paper and you will instantly be brought back to the place and the space you occupied in that moment. So that's number two. Number three, take 3, 4, maybe even 5 minutes of reflection time at the beginning of every day before you get out of bed and at the end of every day before you put yourself to sleep. And here's what you can do. In the morning, you can create an intention. Decide what you want to latch onto as an idea, as an intention, as a good thought for that day. Keep it in your head. Let it roll around. Think about it. Feel it. And believe in it. I'm telling you, you will go to work or wherever it is you have to face things. And that energy that you absorbed in the morning, you will find will actually be a barrier to a lot of the negative things you could take in potentially throughout the course of the day. At night, same thing. 3 to 5 minutes of reflection and ask yourself, in a survey of the day, where did I feel at my best? And maybe where didn't I feel so well? So the next question would be, do I have any power to maybe stay away from some of those things where I felt unaccepted, or I felt terrible, or I was being treated poorly? Can you steer away from those experiences in your future? But more importantly, as you reflect on your day, can you say, where did I feel my best, my freest? Who was I around? What was I talking about? Retain those things and make a mental note of starting to absorb and to acquire more of those experiences and live in those positive spaces. And what you'll be doing is little by little gravitating more and more to those things that give you uplift. You'll be doing it from the inside out. Ready for number 4? Number 4 is this: step away from the conflict, the insult, the drama, and even the trigger. How often do we all get conformed into behavior patterns that if we really were to stop and look at them, we'd think, I must be the village idiot because I keep doing the wrong thing over and over and over again. There may be people that know just how to get into your craw. There may be places you go and things you see that just set you off. Well, the next time you see it, take a breath and then just take a step to step away from it. And when you do, you'll realize you've always had the power to withhold yourself from that negative energy, the kinds of things that actually take energy away from you, delete and deplete you, and you get to conserve your energy. And by doing so, you have a much better sense of equilibrium in your life. So remember that. Step away from the conflict, the insult, and the drama. You'll thank yourself for it. Number 5, as a hack, ask yourself if you're going to be, let's say, spouting out, telling somebody off, or maybe doing something that you shouldn't be doing. Ask yourself, how will this action or word or decision or remark or response play back in my future? Before you do anything, ask yourself, how is this going to play back in my future? Am I going to feel good about it? Am I going to be embarrassed? Am I going to think, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go back and apologize to somebody? Or this is going to make me look like a fool. And I have no intention of being a fool. So why not, before opening up your mouth or even taking a risk that maybe in this moment you think you want to do to protect yourself, that you know in the future is not going to play back well? Just take a moment to think about that one question. How will this play back in my future? And as you see your future unroll, you could make the powerful decision and the good decision for yourself in the here and now. Number 6, as a hack, I call it the drop it hack. And I have had to do this several times, especially in my corporate days. I was in management and it was sales, a lot of salespeople working for me, and we were in the service industry. And people would come into me all the time saying, Maura, what do we do about this? Oh, I have a problem. What do we do about that? And sometimes I would be in this place. I always wanted to be the answer person. And I would just send myself crazy, like, okay, how can I solve this? What can I do? And sometimes a problem would get so big, and I felt like I was going round and round, that I had no choice but to just drop it. Imagine what it feels like when you've been carrying something continuously over and over and over again, and it really becomes a weight, and there's no way out of it. And you just say to yourself, you know what? Like a heavy piece of luggage, I'm just going to drop it. Drop it mentally, drop it emotionally, and just go about your business. I don't know how it happens, but I can tell you that when you're willing to let something fall from your concern, from your worry, your consternation, you're actually opening up a pathway to receiving an alternate or unthought of solution to whatever your seeming problem happened to be. And it'd be like, I could have never thought about it, but it could happen as an answer and a solution when you're in the middle of something else. So try that as a just drop it. hack. Number 7, are you ready for this one? Change your song. I mean this literally as well as figuratively. Have you ever been around people that are constantly complaining? Think about that as the complaining song. And think about your song. What kind of a song are you singing repeatedly every day? You can just take a few moments to say, you know what, today I'm going to pay attention to my song, and I'm going to decide if I like this song and if it's making me happy and feeling uplifted, or if this song is making me miserable, and you can change it. But I want to say you can also change your song literally. Are you aware of how much power there is in music? Music lends itself to such feelings and emotions, some of which are fun and happy. They remind us of being little kids playing, maybe because the music has lots of fun rhymes and easy sing-alongs. It could also be incredibly angry, heavy, and depressing. Pay attention to what kind of music you're listening to, and go to something like Spotify, and they are loaded with all kinds of free music. You can find everything from romance to just fun to hip hop to jazz. Find those kinds of musical pieces that really make you feel great, and tune into those songs and change them out from your old songs. Okay, number 8 kind of goes along with the music. It's this: dance. Dance! Even if you don't know how. There happens to be an old Bible verse. It says that we can literally put on a garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. And it took me several years of learning years ago to realize that that garment of praise actually translated into dance. So think about this. If you have been carrying what feels like a spirit of heaviness, and some people do it their whole lives and they're not even aware of it, dancing has the ability to break you through. And I want to just share with you an idea or a recollection, remembrance I had. Maybe 20 years ago or so, I spent some time in Africa. In fact, I was on this really, really remote island in Lake Victoria, which was part of Uganda. These people had absolutely nothing. Nothing. But they weren't even aware of the fact that they had nothing. There was really nothing to do on the island. The people had never left the island. They were living in huts. They ate the same fish every single day, and I think they were all of 2 bicycles on the island. Now you would think, oh my gosh, these people are unhappy or whatever. But one of the biggest takeaways I had, among others, was watching a little boy dance to nothing more than the sound of a drum. They must have found an animal. They got the skin of the animal. They created a drum out of it. And this little boy, to the sound of a drum, would dance and dance and dance. And you could see he was dancing straight from the heart. He made me smile, and I wasn't even dancing. So you can actually, wherever you are, find a room. I don't even care if you're outside, and dance around like your heart has been waiting to express itself. And there's an energy that literally can help you break through from where you've been. I'll tell you, this is one of the things I do. I may get out of the shower in the morning, and oftentimes, even though I am the ambassador of happiness, I spend an awful lot of my time learning and, let's say, researching a lot of extremely heavy topics that burden the human race. But I will put on sometimes some 60s music, which happens to be a lot of my favorites, a lot of Motown hits, and I'll be in the bathroom getting ready. Nobody's there, and I am busy dancing to some of this music, and I can't tell you how much better it makes me feel, even as I'm in the midst of listening or reading some of this really heavy-duty stuff. It is extremely powerful. And lastly, as your final hack, I'm going to tell you this is something really simple, but you might say to me, ooh, with a little resistance, but Maura, it's so hard to do. I'm going to tell you this is one of the most powerful hacks you can ever use when it comes to lightening and brightening yourself for greater happiness, well-being, and peace from within. And it's this. It's the F word. And it's a different one than what you're thinking. It's forgive. If you want to feel better on the inside, if you want to carry a better energy, a lighter energy, more, I want to say more sparkle, more sense of presence of wherever you are and whatever you're doing, learn to be in a perpetual state of forgiveness. Sometimes you need to forgive yourself if you're too critical, and other times, as we all know, we need to forgive other people. I'll tell you one thing I have learned in the course of my lifetime, and maybe you can latch on to this idea, is that when I think about forgiveness, and I think about maybe anything I could ever do, willingly or unwillingly, wittingly or unwittingly, would I want to be forgiven? And my answer is always. I would always want to be forgiven. I think the idea of being not forgiven would be the most devastating awareness that I could ever carry within my soul. So my answer is to that, no matter who it is, no matter what the supposed offense is, I'm going to forgive it. Because everything I choose not to forgive with another is the same as not forgiving something within myself. And if I want to know true peace, and the peace that only comes from that resting place that is perfectly even, perfectly applied, I'm going to forgive continuously, perpetually, even before something happens. It may not always be easy, but it is simple, and it comes down to a decision. And I will tell you this, all you need to do is experience what it's like when you lift that feeling of forgiveness off you and you know what your spirit feels like. You'll want to go back there again and again and again, because you'll know it's one of the greatest secret hacks to happiness you'll ever experience in your life. Well, that's been all for now. I hope you've enjoyed this. More than that, I hope you employ these hacks and share them with someone else who may need them today. Until next time, this has been Maura with Maura for You.
For more insights on living happy from the inside out, subscribe to this podcast. To learn more about Maura, visit her mauraforyou.com website, where you'll find videos, blogs, books, and the Foundations of Happiness self-study e-course. Maura, 4, letter U.com, where Maura is always for you.